Hey again, everyone. It's weather for Weather Geeks time on this Friday evening. We're going to focus on, of course, our rainstorm coming, and then we'll take a look at the longer range as well. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the current radar because, most of you will be watching this well after I recorded it, so the information can be a little outdated. But about 7:30 p.m., rain was continuing to push through central Ohio with some big storms down in parts of Kentucky into parts of West Virginia as well, even a tornado warning on that storm to the north of Charleston, West Virginia. Here locally, clouds have been thickening up over the last few hours, but we are dry, and I think we'll stay dry through sunset this evening. A little bit of light rain can then start to move in, and then, of course, it'll get heavier and heavier. Center of our low pressure system, let me pause things here and show you the isobars. The center of our low is right here. It is going to rapidly strengthen as this comes to the north and northeast. This is much more like an autumn or even wintertime setup with a very strong trough digging into the Ohio Valley and really starting to lift the air and cause this low pressure system to intensify. You don't see this often in the summer, and particularly kind of in the heart of summer. We're getting into late June now, and this is pretty rare for this time of the year. So let's talk about what's going to happen as we go into the night tonight. Our high-resolution computer model, the high-resolution rapid refresh is what this is called. I'm going to skip ahead a couple of hours to, let's go to 10 p.m. this evening. Here's what the radar should look like. This model tends to do pretty well in the short term, can sometimes overdo things, especially in thunderstorm type patterns. But nonetheless, I think it's doing a pretty good job tonight. So by 10, maybe a little rain starting to push into our southern viewing area. By midnight, the light rain is definitely here. And by 2 o'clock in the morning, it's raining. Now, this won't be anything all that heavy yet at about 1, 2 in the morning. That's going to change as we head deeper into the night. Check this out. This would be 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, just pouring. We see these darker greens and yellows. So real heavy rain just before daybreak. Here's 7 o'clock in the morning, still just absolutely a deluge. This will be the worst part of the whole weekend in terms of rainfall rates during the very early morning hours on Saturday. And then here's 8 o'clock in the morning. You get the idea. Still raining at a good clip. Now here's our dry slot off to the south and west. This dry slot should get in here before the morning is through. We'll switch things over to the NAM model. And here's mid-morning on Saturday, about 10 a.m. Notice the axis of heaviest rain at this point is kind of arced like this, starting to lift out of our viewing area. So by mid-morning, I think the blob of rain will be pushing away. What are we left with then? Well, certainly not totally dry weather. But starting around maybe 11 or noon, we're going to start to see some long breaks in the wet weather. Some showers still here and there, yes, but not as consistent of a rain as we had early in the day. So here's 1 p.m., pouring in central PA, up towards Detroit and over Lake Erie. But where we live, shower here and there. That should be about it early in the afternoon. So it's not going to just pour the entire day tomorrow. That's late tonight, first thing tomorrow morning. Now, interesting situation setting up here as we go through mid to late afternoon tomorrow. The warm front continues lifting to the north, and we'll get into some warmer, I should say, and most importantly, more unstable air across the valley. And as a result, the models are showing some thunderstorms trying to pop up around mid to late afternoon. Here's 4 p.m., and notice we got some thunderstorm action starting to pop in far eastern Ohio and far western parts of Pennsylvania. So that's kind of interesting. Here's 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Perhaps some pretty decent storms now getting going in western parts of PA. The instability, it's kind of a narrow corridor, but there will be some, certainly. So let's back things up a couple of hours to 4 p.m. Here's the CAPE, convective available potential energy. This thin corridor here is where the unstable air is late tomorrow afternoon. So, yeah, we're going to allow for a thunderstorm late in the afternoon tomorrow. Could even be kind of strong, potentially if these get going. There's a lot of wind upstairs in the atmosphere to pull down. Here's the winds at 5,000 feet. Tomorrow afternoon, late in the afternoon, we're talking about 50-mile-per-hour winds, not far above our heads. So if a couple of storms get going, they can pull down some of that wind. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for. A sneaky, heavy thunderstorm chance late in the afternoon, or mid to late afternoon tomorrow. Now by tomorrow evening, that threat is gone. Here's 9 p.m. and just a residual shower. I think the second half of the weekend is no picnic either, with the center of our low now over central PA Sunday morning. There'll be leftover residual showers on the backside, and those will stick around for a lot of the midday and early afternoon, finally starting to clear out by late in the day Sunday. A real autumnal day on Sunday. Temperatures are going to struggle. Upper 50s, lower 60s might be about it. Let's back up to the warmest part of the day, show you what the highs are shown to be here on the NAM model. It's not giving us much more than upper 50s. Now, I think we could sneak to 63, 64 in spots on Sunday, but not much better than that. So a raw day coming up on Sunday. All right, once we're done with the weekend, we're going to get into a pattern next week that will feature the occasional shower or thunderstorm, but probably no big ticket rainfall items in store for us next week. Real quickly, back to our rainstorm. Latest runs of the computer models here showing the rainfall accumulations. This line, get my drawing tool. This line right here it's white with the boxes. That's the average of the models, and it's still giving us an average of about 2 to 2.5 inches. I think that's on the money. I think 2.5 inches is likely. As far as the river flooding situation, I think flood warnings will be issued this weekend for the Mahoning River, Eagle Creek up in southwestern Trumbull. You bet. Here's the Mahoning River at Leavittsburg, the forecasted crest here. Right now they're forecasting it to crest at about 13 feet Saturday evening into Sunday morning. That's pretty close to moderate flood stage. Moderate starts at 13.5 feet. So that's Leavittsburg. Mahoning River at Youngstown expected to crest pretty close to 15 feet Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Moderate flood stage starts at 16 feet. So, if a little more rain falls than is expected, you can expect some moderate flooding along the Mahoning River and in the usual spots. So, most of us who have lived here for a while know where these spots are and know where the trouble spots are, and this will be a weekend you have to keep an eye out for those trouble spots. All right, real quickly, I promised that I would have a look at the 4th of July weekend now that we're about a week away. So let me bring up the latest GFS model. Models 8, 9, 10 days out, you always got to take them with a grain of salt, particularly the GFS model, which, suffers from performance issues, certainly in the longer range. The European model tends to do a little better. Not allowed to show you the European model, but I will show you the GFS. This is next Friday the 3rd. If taken literally, in other words, if this were to be exactly right, on next Friday, you'd have a front out here, a warm front through here, and maybe a shower or a thunderstorm on Friday the 3rd of July. Here's the 4th, next Saturday. Let's skip ahead to the afternoon, and the GFS would advertise a cold front to our north and west, probably somewhere in here, and not much in the warm sector across the region. I would expect, if this were to be exactly right, a warm, somewhat humid day, maybe a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, but again, if this were to be taken verbatim, we wouldn't be looking at much rain just yet on the 4th, a little more likely on the 5th. But again, this is one model, one run of one model, and this is 8 days from now. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but did want to just, start to preview it a little bit for you. As far as the temperatures in the longer range, next week, a lot of days in the 70s for highs. As we go beyond that, I think we can sneak in some 80s, certainly by next weekend. Here's the 8 to 16 day outlook. This takes us from July 4th to the 12th. Cooler than average, good bet out in the middle of the country, maybe warm in New England and certainly warm out west. And here in our neck of the woods, that period from the 4th to the 12th might end up kind of being about average, which means a lot of days with highs around 80 or so and lows around 60 or so. That's about par for the course in early to mid-July. Well, as always, I thank you for watching Weather for Weather Geeks. As we go into our rainy day tomorrow, Andrew DePaulo is going to have you covered on WFMJ Weekend today, tomorrow morning. I'll be chiming in on social media. Candace Monticelli will be in tomorrow evening at 6 and 11 to bring you up to date on the latest happenings. So we've got you covered. Always trust us on the TV side, the social media side, the web side. We work really hard to keep you informed at all times. In the meantime, I'll see you tonight on 21 News at 11. Have yourself a great Friday night.